John Strope, are we ready?
We're rolling.
Okay, we're ready.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Again, good afternoon to everyone who's participating on this CIP committee Zoom update. Today is December the 8th, 2020, and the time is approximately at 11:21 a.m. We have on the Zoom meeting, which is myself, Councilman C.J. Small, along with my committee members. We have Councilman Fred Richardson and also Councilman John Williams. Also, we have on here is our President Levon Charles Manzi. Also, Councilwoman Bess Rich, Councilman Joe Daves, and we also have our city clerk along with the CIP director, Ms. Jasmine Washington. Also, we have several other people from the administration that's on board. Mr. Amberger, I see Ms. White, I see Mr. Christian, Ms. Harden, and we do have some people in the media, I guess, is also streaming on this particular meeting. We will go ahead and get the updates from Ms. Jasmine, and she can just start off and just give us an overview of updates. And once we get the overview of updates, and she can just touch on each district, and then we will come back and ask the committee members they have any questions, and then from the committee members to the our president and the rest of the council, and then we now we'll conclude. Ms. Washington, we in your hands.
Thanks, guys. So I didn't ask this earlier. If you could make me a co-host so I could share my screen, that would be great.
Right. We need to see you.
I think is okay.
Jasmine, got it?
Yep, I see it now. Perfect. Okay, guys, do you see my screen?
Yes, we see you.
Perfect. Okay, so let me make sure that I can see everything. Okay, great. So just like what CJ said, this is the CIP update.
Jasmine.
Yes.
We just see us. We see a photo of you. We don't see you.
Oh no. Oh, you want me to share my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't into that.
I'm getting the PowerPoint presentation with Jasmine.
So am I.
Good. All right. So just like CJ said, we are having our CIP update. The timing coordinated with what we were wanting to meet with you guys. Also, we wanted to get with you guys, get in front of you every quarter so that we can, review everything that's been done so far and really go forward, and kind of collaborate on our plans moving forward. So for the agenda today, we're going to go through a little bit of a synopsis, going over the contracts that'll be coming before you guys, a CIP update, including the commitment progress since January, as well as the 2016 through 2018 year gaps. Actually, am working on sending you guys, I know I sent Levon his 2020 through 2021 projects that are remaining. And so I'll send those out to you guys as well. And then we'll go over what we're planning for 2022 through 2026, just the development schedule we're working with, and as well as trying to get a timeline to get you guys' district priorities. Are there any questions so far? Okay, so going forward, the synopsis. So we're breaking things down. You guys know, for the most part, what's inside of your districts. So we're breaking things down by year right now. We already know that all the funding from the CIP is accounted for and anticipated to be used for previously confirmed CIP items. Projects that are currently in construction may have funds that are not completely allocated, but they usually can't be reconciled until the project is closed out, and additions for claims against the projects have been completed. When projects are complete, any remaining funds or underruns are rolled forward to similar projects or moved into contingency, and all of that happens within your district. So your funding stays within your districts. And then the contingency, you all know, it continues to be used for shortfalls in specific previously confirmed district projects. So these are the contracts that you will see coming before you over the next 3 months. And if you have any questions on them, I believe we have everyone available that should be able to answer any questions that you may have. So just feel free to reach out. So for ones on the 2019 list, these are some projects that you will see coming before you. Village of Spring Hill sidewalks actually has already gone through. For some reason, my slides didn't update, but that's okay. But everything else here you should be seeing. If you have any questions or need us to stop on anything, just let me know. For 2020, these are the projects. There's a good bit of them, so I'll pause for a second.
What's the anticipation time of this coming before the council? Would this be this year as in 2020, or are we looking at the first quarter of 2021?
So both. So this actually goes until February of 2021. So these are things that you'll see through the rest of this month, throughout the end of the year, January and February. So we try to work in 3-month time frames to kind of give you a look ahead. Is there anything in particular you're kind of curious about?
Well, the Tramiel Park, of course, myself, you know.
Okay, sure. So let's see. Okay, so if Kim is on, is there a particular question we can go ahead and get that taken care of? Are you trying to figure out when it will be before
Later,
you?
but just seeing when it's going to pretty much, you know, we'll start seeing, you know, these on our agenda and everything. But I can find out later.
Sure, well, we'll make a note of that one.
Okay, I have one.
Yes, sir.
The very first one, Figures Park construction. I want an update on that.
Perfect. Kim, would you like to give an update on that project?
The consultant's in the process of completing the construction bid documents. We've got a review set in our office, and we're working on a bidding sequence when we'll put it out for bid. So we should have a construction contract on before the end of February.
Gracious alive, how it's December. They've been working on this thing for a long time. So
we added some additional scope when we received the 2021 funding so that we could go ahead and get those items included in this contract and not have to put those off for another round of consultant and design and delay that further. So we took a little extra time to add more in, which we've done in several districts. And that's a little bit of why the documents aren't going to be ready quite yet for distribution.
have a group biting at the bits over there, and you have already met them, and they are red hot on. They believe it's a farce that we're not going to do anything, that we're just leading them on with the Florida Fortune section over there with the entry to Figures Park. They are losing faith in us. And can I get something from you on what was added? I would just like to have something in my hand, so when I sit down with them, I can show them where we are and what to expect in the future.
Yes, sir. I wonder if it might be helpful if we pulled out the sheets that are related to that entryway for you to show them that we do have bid documents that are basically ready to go out for bid. shortly. But if you want additional information, like on the rest of the scope of the whole project, we can work with you on that as well.
Well, the main thing they are concerned about is that that entryway there
Yes, sir.
with the Florida Fortune potion.
Well, it's definitely in the documents for bidding. And if you'd like for us to share that portion of it with you to show them, we can work on that.
Well, I just want to say that when it comes down to the projects in District 1, I get the same story that they are getting ready to bid. It ain't gonna be long. I was told that on the sidewalks on O'Shea Road. They've been telling me that for over a year. I don't see nothing in the wood. It's the same. It seems I don't want to be told something just to quiet me down. I want to be given the facts, something I can depend on, something I can tell them, and because they'll lose faith in me, just me going telling the people what's going to happen, and it's not happening. And I went back and told the people in Crichton, it's getting ready to happen. Nothing has happened. So I'm afraid to say anything to them because I just get empty words and I don't get no action, where in other districts I see action, not no talk, action. When it comes to District 1, they're working on it. It's out there. We got it. And nothing is happening. Can you give me a forecast on this section that I'm concerned about as to when this going to happen?
Yes, sir. I can get the dates for you and send them along. I don't have them with me right this moment, but we have just dates.
Okay. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. Are there any other questions with this page? Okay. For 2021, these are the contracts that are coming up. Also included in here is the striping contract. We had to work out rebidding that one. So that will be on the one that you receive after this meeting, that update. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go into the commitment progress. So this is kind of a summary of how things are overall. So overall, from 2016 to 2020, normally we don't show 2016 just because there's really only one council person who has something that's outstanding there, but we're including that just to kind of show you what our focus has been. So it's been on really closing out a lot of the things from the previous years and getting us closer to done. So since January of 2020, we have closed out 84% of the remaining balance that we had in January of 2020, 90% of the balance that we had remaining for 2017 since January, and 79% of the remaining balance that we had for 2018. So we're really making progress in getting through a lot of those projects. And you recall, part of the difficulty was the fact that we had so many small projects, and it really takes the same amount of work to kind of put together, contract, and complete and close out as many of the larger projects that we're dealing with. So right now, the remaining balance for 2016 through 2018 is a little under 5% of the full $63 million balance. So we just wanted to kind of let you guys know that. For 2019 and 2020, since January of 2020, we've averaged about well, I guess that's probably about 58%, of the projects being closed out or committed, funding being committed since then. And so in overall for 2016 through 2020, you can see at the bottom, we've committed $22.2 million worth of work since January of 2020, and the percent decrease across all years has been 60%, and that's all since January of 2020. So we're definitely working to, push through all of this, and we've gotten a lot more, systems in place to kind of help us with that. So that's just an overall snapshot. Is there anything that you had questions in regards to this slide?
Yes.
Sure.
Can you break that down by districts? We don't need it this minute, but if you could get it in writing, which ones are still either open or are not being done and
Sure.
whatnot. So by
Sure, and on the
district
next,
instead of all together, it's,
Before you do that,
there's no way I would know.
perfect.
so but before we go skipping through here, this is really saying that 2020 was a great year. I'm not sure I am able to follow all the lines and why they're significant. Except for the fact that we're trying to say that we worked hard in 2020 to get the balances down.
Right. So for 2019 and 2020 projects, remember we're going for the larger projects versus a lot of the smaller projects. So that helps us to be able to get through and really, get that work out basically.
Are we supposed to just assume then that money reduction means that we are closer to completion, or is there additional monies? There's something hidden in here that says that we've spent all the money, but we still have project left to do.
Gotcha.
You see?
So, right. So once we get into, the details of this districts where you see your notes, that'll give you the status updates. But I know a lot of times when we're getting questions from you guys, it's in regards to the funding. And so we just wanted to kind of lay out the progress that we've been able to make just over this year. Like that's been a focus of ours, making sure we're closing out those older years of projects, particularly 2016 through 2018.
So Jasmine, when you
Yes.
use the word committed, can you break that down? What are you telling us?
Sure. So committed means that there's a contract that's been written out to a consultant or a contractor to get the work done. It's not just sitting out there, basically.
You are not saying that the council has voted on the contract.
Well, yeah, you should have. Like that's the way it goes. It goes before you and you approve them. So yes.
So when you say committed, everything under committed has already gone before the council.
Exactly. Unless I'm saying something wrong, Nick, Brad, let me know.
Jasmine is correct. When it's committed, she captures it when the council approves the contract. So that's right. What that means.
Yep.
So just tagging on with Fred, and this is continuing my original, we can say that this is not just a spending of money. This is a commitment of the contract and should be a completion of work as well, or an ongoing work.
It's a commitment of the work, meaning yes, it doesn't necessarily mean the work totally complete, but it means a contract has been approved and the work is underway, be it design or construction. Why I think I know like in 16 and 17 where you see some little like call it straggler change, because none of it's straggler change, but those are either maybe a project that hadn't closed out and released forward into something else, or it's tied to something that's still got a little active piece. I think Jasmine will show you a little later on what those breakdowns are, but I think it's some striping. We've just had a terrible go with the striping, trying to get that led, and that contract I think represents over $1 million. So once it finally goes, some of that 16, I think, probably most of the 16, 17, and some of the 18 backlog will go away immediately.
Is Jim DeLapp out there?
Yes, so he will be in just a second. The time it was hard to kind of figure out the time of the meeting. It was just right after.
Nobody will be here. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, so he'll be here.
I just wanted to ask him, why can't we put our own team together to do our striping? If we spending all these $1 million on striping, why can't we get us a striping truck, train people to stripe and go to striping instead of waiting on contractors to come these few contractors are striping all over the county and in other counties. When if we got us a striping truck and got us a team of qualified people on that truck, why can't we do our own striping and save money?
Well, you know, we tried that
about a
before.
little bit.
Yeah, we've had our own equipment in the past, you know, and the challenge is, I mean, it's a complicated piece of equipment, high degree of maintenance with it. The staff, I mean, obviously you got to have the staff that which we don't have, and you got to practice. It makes more sense for us to contract it out, but unfortunately, the contracting mechanism has had a series of challenges. Last time they just didn't, neither of the contractors filled out their DBE paperwork correctly, so both of the bids had to be thrown out. So we're hopeful. I think Jennifer's got it on the street being advertised right now that we'll have actually a third bidder. We understand there's another contractor planning to bid, so hopefully we'll get a very competitive bid and everybody will have their paperwork filled out appropriately this next shot at it.
Yeah, and Fred, the only 2 years we have striping money is 19 and 20, when we purposely put those 2 years together to make a really robust striping bid so that we could do some major roadways where we're combining the money from each district so that we could do some big roads and do quite a few of them. So it's a very robust contract this time. The pre-bid meeting is actually tomorrow and bids open on the 16th.
Jennifer, my response to that would be the reason you don't have striping money every year, you don't ask for it every year.
I didn't ask for it in 2021.
That's exactly right. We could have striping money every year and we could put our people out there striping. You all made that decision, not the council.
Council, let's try to stay streams and the questions and keep all the extra commentary towards the end before we can just get on and every person have a fair share, but we're gonna be on here over an hour if we could. Just bring in. Ms. Washington.
Okay, sounds good. So for remaining projects for 2016, there's 3 main projects that are remaining, total $36,733. These are those projects. And if you have any particular questions about them, feel free to reach out. We're all here for you. The hybrid beacons, those should be scheduled to begin the construction beginning of next week. And it should be complete in about 6 weeks. So by January, that'll be done. And we'll be able to move forward from there. Yes.
Jasmine.
Yes, sir.
I'm happy to see the hybrid beacons going up. I'm perplexed at what has taken so long for these. It's a 2016 item.
Sure. And Jennifer's here. She can give a little bit more details, but a lot of it has been, procurement issues from what I understand. Jennifer?
Yeah, it's had a number of different, issues. One of them at the very beginning with procuring the poles for it. That took over 18 months, almost 24 months just to do that. And then when we have run into some roadblocks with ALDOT and the permit for Government Street, one of them being now that they're telling us that we've got to make corrections to that bus stop because it was installed incorrectly, and I guess without a permit. So they're wanting us to correct that. So we will be, I think we're kind of pushing back a little bit on that with the ADA requirements that they think it's something was done incorrectly when it was installed. Another issue we've had since we're doing this in-house is just the number of people that we now have in the electrical department. We've had quite a bit of attrition and inability to hire qualified electricians. So our staff is very, very small. We're the smallest we have ever been. And then just like 6 or 8 weeks, this past 2 months, the digger derrick truck was in the shop and that we need that to set poles. So we were not setting any poles anywhere around the city for any of our projects at that point. So it's just been one thing after the other. And I've just told them that, now that the digger derrick truck is back, we need to make it a priority. So they're going to start setting foundations next week. So it shouldn't take that long once we start.
Okay, thank you.
2017, the remaining budget is $156,047.14. Those are traffic signal miscellaneous improvements. So that's a combined of 7 projects. Traffic signal intersection improvements, that's 3 projects, as well as citywide streetlights, which is 7 projects. So the ones that are 7 projects, usually that's 1 in each of your districts. And so the status is the same for all of those. So if there's anything that you have a question about, reach out.
I have a question.
Yes.
Thank you. I know that in 6, and I guess I'll learn this when you go through it by districts, but alone there were 2 traffic signals to be improved for 250,000. So that's obviously not in this.
Was
this
it a
project
2017
list.
project? Do you recall?
Is it either? I don't remember. I'll be honest with
Okay.
you.
Sure.
Is it, Bess, is it the Hillcrest, Cottage Hill?
Yeah, is that the following
Christopher
year? Was that
And the
the
Lord's
following?
Lane?
Yes.
It is still in design. We should be getting final on that to actually start the work on it.
Okay.
But it
Okay,
actually
so-
had to have some design because we're doing some networking and connecting all 3 of those signals together. That's
Okay,
the
so
only-
that will show up on when you go through the district ones, then I'll see that. Hopefully.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. For 2018, remaining is 659,000. Even this might have 2. Yeah, so there's two slides for this one. And if you have any questions on either one, there's a slide right after this, then we'll cover that one as well.
Okay.
All right. I think that should be it for 2018. Okay. So for the other ones, so I have your 2019, 20, and 21 projects lists to give to you guys. Do you recall if there's anything on the top of your mind that you had questions on in regards to that?
Wait, excuse me, are you going to give us, I mean, because I don't want to have to make you go through gyrations if I'm going to get a list of like my TAP grant, where it is.
Okay, so Jim has just entered the building. I'm sorry, so are we?
There's a TAP grant that was on for Airport Boulevard now it goes from Galloway to Hillcrest. So will I get that? I just want to know if each council person will get a list and the progress of each one of their items,
definitely.
projects. Okay, then
Right,
I'll just
so-
wait for that.
And if there's one that you have a particular question on, we can kind of go through it. Do you recall which year it is?
I mean,
that
I can answer her question on that.
Okay.
We're still trying to get that easement procured. That's what's holding us up at this point.
The church.
Yes. No, yes, yeah. Airport Boulevard's the church. So is DIP. So we got 2 different
Okay,
churches.
that's been going
Yeah.
on a long time too.
I think everything is in real estate. I think everything's been negotiated. It's just in real estate to be recorded. I think is where we're at on that one.
Jennifer,
Okay.
if you don't mind me asking, who are you working with in real estate on that?
It's Mary Beth working with, I think, Carlene on that one.
Okay, well, let's follow up with her.
Okay.
Okay, guys, so actually before we move forward, are there anything, I know that Fred, you had a question in regards to internal striping. Were there any questions that you had for Jim now that he's on? Real quick, just to give you a layout, and we went over everything.
Yeah,
And
I apologize for being late. The only thing is, if you back up on that one slide with the timeline chart, the circle chart.
oh, we're not there yet.
Oh,
You
okay.
came just in time. Yep.
Good. All right.
So you can give your preemptive thing, or if any of you guys have any questions for him before we move forward. Okay, so it sounds like we're good. So we're getting into 2022 through 2026 CIP planning. we're gonna go over this schedule. You wanna?
Yeah, so, and again, I apologize for being late. I was trying to dial in and then had some issues and then pulled into another call. And so I apologize, but go to the next slide, Jasmine.
Sure.
So we are working to be, as I think I've talked to you all before, to be a lot more deliberate and thoughtful in our 5-year planning for the capital improvement program and plan. It's beyond, we're looking at it more holistically than just the $21 million, $3 million per district. It's really everything that we need and want to be doing in the city. And so we're going to follow the process you see here. This is a draft of the process. The chart's a little bit hard to follow and read, and I'll walk you through it. But working with those that you historically have worked with in the CIP, all the kind of representatives from each of the departments, with Bill Mobile, going off of the map for Mobile, as well as all the supporting documents that we've, had done over the many, many years of, things that we should and ought to be doing in the city, and other key stakeholders and folks to kind of really chart the path, but then lay out the projects we're going to be doing. The other piece is we'll be looking at what other grant opportunities we want to pursue with other restore buckets of funds and other grants, and what projects that might be as well. So bottom line is we are working to go through that process that you see here. In doing so, we'll produce essentially a book that has all of the projects listed in it. There'll be an online version as well as a printed version for limited printed versions, but mostly downloadable online PDF. And then it'll have an interactive web portal that will have that constituents or anyone can look at and see what's either planned in design and construction or being closed out. And both those documents, the hard copy one as well as the interactive portal are both about 60 to 70% complete. In other words, they've got the bones of them built, and then they're just going to be now populated. We know some of the projects, but they'll be populated with the remainder of the projects out over the 5 years. So that's going to be a major undertaking, but also a huge transformative thing for the city. As you'll recall, this was something that our contractor Stantec started years ago, and we never really got it completed. And so I picked up where they left off, and we're getting this done. The big piece to this is that the backbone of all of that is really the projects are loaded into the eBuilder database. As you know, we've had eBuilder license for multiple years. We just renewed it again, thanks to your support. But we have fully adopted that and embraced that and are using that. Our project managers are using that to track their current projects, and we'll be using that. We've got some cleaning up of the database to do to get some of the old stuff out, but using that going forward. And that database is what feeds these documents in that online tool. So it's going to be great. So when you have a question or your constituents have a question about, geez, what's happening in my district, you'll be able to look at that map and click your district and show everything going on in your district. You'll be able to, have the handbook that lists all the projects, and the one online, the handbook will get kind of published at the budget cycle year in the September, October timeframe once a year, but the online version will be up to date every single day based on the input from the eBuilder database and our PM. So if you want to know percent complete or how much we spent on that project, it'll all be in there. So we're making good headway on it. We really wanted to try and have it out. I was, ambitious in trying to get it going last year for this year's for 21, but it was just too heavy of a lift. We had too much to do to try and get it set up, but we're definitely on track to have it all operational this year, and we're working through this process. So here we are in December. If you look at that chart, step one there is identify. So November, December, we're identifying projects that we will want to do, we know we need to do, and start to kind of just get the whole list together. And that'll be to include input from you all. And then in January, February, we'll be scoring the project. So we'll kind of give them all a score. And we've got a formula for doing that. And then kind of see what really comes to the top. And then we'll prioritize those in the February, March timeframe with the task force and then kind of rack and stack them. And then we'll refine that prioritized list with your input, no different than we've always done. So this isn't a lot different than we've done always with you. It's just that we're going to be looking out a little further and a little more in depth in terms of the fidelity of the projects. And then we'll refine that over the April, May, June, and then we'll look to adopt in the June, July, August, no later than September timeframe. And then we'll publish that document saying, here it is. Now, having said that, this document will be pretty much, accurate, 100% accurate for that immediate year. So for this year, it'd be 22. 23, let's say it'll be 95% accurate. 24 to be 90. 25, it'll be 80. 26, it might be 75 or 50% accurate. In other words, it's showing 5 years out, but it's not necessarily, locking you in to say, well, it can't change, because every year it's going to get republished and make those out years more accurate. And so, it doesn't lock it in forever. And we've already in the current budget cycle shown you kind of templates for funding and major projects we know that are going to be happening in your districts in those out years. But again, that doesn't lock you into that. We relook at every single year and refine it. And so I just want to let you know that we're making really good headway on this. It is a work in progress, but I feel really good about where it's going and know that it'll really chart a path better for the city going forward. And it'll help offer transparency and visibility to you and all the citizens of Mobile, or those looking at Mobile, about what's happening in your area, your district, and in the city. So I'll pause there for any questions about that. I know I ran through it kind of quick. No questions. Good. All right.
Jim, if I might,
Sure.
as early as y'all know, I'd love to see the criteria for scoring and hope that scoring criteria includes council recommendation.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm happy to share that with you. And what we're going to do, and Jasmine, if you go to the next slide, the big thing is we want to get your priorities for not only 22, but we want to get into the out years. But right now, it's your recommendations will be a part of that. But I would tell you that will be during that refined process. Back up one, sorry, Jasmine.
Yeah.
So during that refined process, you're going to review the draft CIP and then any kind of alignment or any things that you want. But I do want initially to start out with kind of, geez, these are the professional engineer staff recommendations, recommendations based on.
I hear you, Jim, but this whole program is, I think the success of the CIP lies in the fact that the involvement of the city council all the way along and the buy-in. And if you wait till refined, then you would have to anticipate some challenges across the board. And
right.
I think you know where I'm going.
I do. And 2 points to that. The first one being, number one, this is, again, as a reminder, this is more than just the 21 million. So I think you're thinking mostly that. I'm talking all funding sources. So it's everything to include future grants and other things, of which you do have purview in terms of approving, like, for example, gas tax and other areas. So it will be more than just the 21 million. So it's going to be holistic. And we want to make sure for sure within that 21 million, the 3 million per district, we know your priorities, we understand what is important to you, and we take that into consideration. And we're going to ask for that now. Jasmine's going to be reaching out to you and give you a kind of date. She's going to send out an email saying, tell us what you're really interested in 22 and then beyond. And so we can get that feedback now in December during this identify process. And that will help shape some of that, work that we do as we go along.
Yeah, but realize that unless CIP dollars are going into a matching or some type of enabling money, CIP is the 21.
Correct.
It's not all the other stuff.
Well,
unless all the other stuff are being dependent on CIP matching funds in order to leverage other opportunities.
Well, and that's where I probably need to be extra deliberate about definitions. So traditionally, we've used the term CIP to talk just about the 21. I'm trying to help shift the mindset and the change and the definition of that to include the entire capital improvement program for 22 to 26, which is everything, not just the 21. That 21 will be a subset. It'll be the traditional CIP, but there is a broader program and plan that we're developing that encompasses all of that. Because if I can't, we've got to look at it holistically to make sure we are hitting the priorities, but also utilizing the different funding sources in the best way possible. So there will be a little bit of a definition shift for everyone and a mindset shift in that. And I know that'll be a challenge the first year or so.
Yep. All right, thank you. We'll talk more now.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I just want to speak. I'm going along with. I agree with what John is saying. The council has a voice with the 21 million. All of the other funds that the city is getting in, it appears on our agenda for us to approve. We don't select the projects. It shows up for us to approve. And then you lap it in and call out that CIP. So we probably need to call our CCIP, Council Capital Improvement Projects, because that's when we have a voice on. The other voice we have is just a voice to vote. That's the only voice we have to vote. On all of the other money he's talking about, we have a voice to vote, not to select. We have a voice to select with CIP. Now, it's a political appointed in here that we have to be concerned with. That is, every 4 years we have to be elected. The folks that's handling all these other programs, they are appointed, they're down to the, they don't have to face the public. So if the public keep on asking us for this, this, and this, and we keep on shifting that over there to that, and that, we won't be here long. We have to see about the people. So on the 21 million, I will be sending out a questionnaire to all of the 5 major communities in my district, telling the council, telling the citizens how much funding that I have for this year, and for them to identify what it is that they would like to see me address. Unless we address what the citizens say they want us to address, they would never consider Mobile to be a great city. Unless they are happy with the house they live in, the neighborhood they live in, the street they live on, they won't be happy with the city they live in. So if we don't, if there are things on their street and in their neighborhood that over and over again we don't ever address, when you ask them about the city of Mobile, they're not going to be happy. They're going to know what they're going to say. They ain't doing nothing down there. What they mean is that we are not addressing their concerns. I'm not going to get trapped into that. I'm going to reach out to them and get what it is that they're concerned about, and I'm going to fight to get those things into the CIP project. Even if I have to amend it when it's put on the council agenda, I'm going to fight for them. Just want to get this up now.
The councilman, I think we're 100% aligned with what you want and what you just described.
All right.
And so Jasmine, as I said, Jasmine, go to the next slide. Jasmine's going to be sending out an email to you this week that's going to ask every one of you, the members on the call today, for your priorities for 22, and it probably should say and beyond. So we want to know specifically, hey, you probably got a running list of everything you think you want in your district for this next year. We want to know what those are, those hot ones that are on your mind. We're kind of doing, this is the initial call for those things that you want in your district for what you defined as CCIP. But we'll give it a name that is easy enough to define that. And then we would welcome ones that you may want in the out years, so all the way out to 26. So if you know, hey, I don't want it this year, upcoming 22, but I think in 24, 25, I'd really like to get to this. tell Jasmine, we're going to put it on the list of those. So we get that input. That is important. Just like Councilman Williams said, we want to know that. And I would venture to say 7 or 8 times out of 10, it's probably going to align just with exactly what we probably had said we know needs to get done as well. There will be those 1 or 2 that we didn't know about that is passionate for your citizen or yourself that will integrate into the plan. And that's totally fine. But we want it to be a deliberate process where we're thinking through it starting now and building out that 5-year, not just doing it at the last minute and kind of going back and forth and not getting you what you want, the citizens what they want, and also what the city needs to make the city progress across the entire city at one time. So
I have a question.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Since the city council can't direct city employees, my question is, how are you staffed up to handle all the different projects? Is it up to speed? Because there was a time where we were told it wasn't. And so a budget amendment was offered a couple of years ago to augment so that there could be hirees. So I just have never been really given a background on that. But I think that has a lot to do with how things move through the equations.
Yeah, so we were, at least when I can't speak to the whole history, but I can speak to last year. You know, we were still
Sure.
short several positions within our, well, as you know, we stood up a new division, programs and project management, which we've been staffing. We've hired 3 or 4 new people just in that department alone, project managers, all getting 100% certified by the Project Management Institute to get their project management certification. So Jen Green is that department head. She has 4 project managers in there. Jasmine Washington, as you know, used to work for Stantec as a contractor. When we let
Yes.
that contract terminate, we brought her on full time to just manage the CIP program. And that's the whole CIP program. Engineering and AE have both been hiring individuals. Engineering's hired 3 new engineers, and AE is still in the process of hiring 1 or 2 additional project managers with a AE background. So we've been staffing it out. We still have a little bit of ways to go, but I would tell you, and I don't have the chart up to show you right now. I could probably dig it up. Jasmine, if you've got the draft of the CIP or the one that we've used before, if you can find that maybe and share that screen, which shows the years 2010 through 2025, that'd be helpful. But as you know, our program now is, you know, 4-fold what it was 5 years ago. And so it's a lot to deliver, and there's more and more every year, particularly when we're aggressive getting after stuff. So there will be some additional hires, but not a, I mean, we've done, I think I just counted off probably 8 new ones that we've brought on board, 7 or 8. So we've made headway, but we've got a little ways to go.
Okay. I just know that was a real bump in the road when, you know, that things couldn't be done because there just wasn't staff to do it. So the council definitely wanted to support the administration in getting the right number of staff.
And
so
we appreciate that. That's been very, very helpful. There you go, Jasmine, right there. This is the draft of the book that we're working on this chart. None of this is final, but this just shows you on this chart, if you can see it, and the left 2010, you know, how much we were putting into, you know, capital improvements throughout the city, and that's by funding source, you know, anywhere from 6 to, you know, 9 million, all the way through 2014. Then 2015, 22 million with some initial grants, state and federal grants, and then the beginning of the CCIP, as Councilman Richardson called it, with the blue line there, which is the 21 million a year, which gave a big boost to everything and really upped the numbers. But you see in this year, 2020, that we're executing, and we're now into 21's fiscal year. I mean, $96 million, correction, $86 million. That's, you know, we received 33 or 35 million in restore funding. It's a lot of money, a lot of stuff to manage. That's why that department's really, really important to have those project managers on board to manage those.
right.
Big
Well,
projects.
that's why I asked. That's why I asked. The staffing is essential. Because if there's not people there to do that work.
I'm well aware. That's what I
And
focus on
you're-
almost daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, I understand that. So the eight, you have 8 additional, or were there some, is that through attrition? I mean, what,
Uh,
but you're saying there's still more that are needed, so that's obviously important.
Correct. We've hired, the ones that are been hired are not they're not replacements from attrition. Those are in addition to that what was there a
Okay,
year ago.
thank
I
you.
think I would say, the 7 is probably the more accurate number. I think we've got at least 1 more we're bringing on, if not 2 more, in the AE department. So that would be, probably 8 or 9 total new employees just focused on managing and handling these projects.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks, Jasmine. And so
No problem.
the last thing I'll say in it is just expect an email from Jasmine requesting your priorities for not only 22, but in the out years that you know of. And then we will definitely incorporate those into as we look to identify the projects in the program. And we'll continue a dialogue throughout the year.
Perfect. Did you guys have any questions so far on anything else covered so far? At the end of this, I'll have your, like I said, the 2019, 2021 list. It just seemed like it would be a lot to kind of go into. So as you guys have questions, just let us know and we can give you an update. They do have updates on the graph though, on the
Mr.
sheet.
Chair,
Mr. President.
I'd like to ask Ms. Washington, I did receive 3 years worth of CIP information. Is what you sent to me the projects that are left to be completed?
Yes. Yeah. So for 2019, that's what's left. For 2020, that's what's left. And for 2021, it's more than likely your whole 2021 list.
Okay, so if there were items, even starting from the initial year to now, if there were items that had a funding line item, but that have not started, where are those resources now?
So if there's projects that, for instance, were on hold or canceled, those would have either moved forward into a similar or like project within your district or to contingency within that district. So what I did just to make it less confusing, if you want, I can give you your whole list, that's fine. The things that had 0 balances are not on that list. So those projects, so all of the things that you've seen that are on that list are things that have remaining balances. The rest of the projects do not.
But the money, to answer your question, Councilman, President Manzi, I think is that money's still there in that account. And that's why we still track, we have $36,000 sitting still in that 2016 remaining, effectively those projects, like all the materials been bought and maybe there's a little bit of work to do still on some of these, but there's still just a very, very small, $36,000. But we're tracking it. But it's there per year if there's any money residual on that project. But in some cases, we may roll it over to a like or similar project that is doing the same thing, but that's very small in numbers.
Right.
Okay, well, when you get an opportunity, if you could send me the full list, there are 2 or 3 items I know of specifically that were funded, and yet the projects haven't moved forward. And so I'm curious as to where those resources are now. Well, one of them I had, and I forget the calendar year, but I had $50,000 allocated for district signage, and we haven't moved forward with the project. And so I'm hopeful that those funds are still available in that fiscal year.
Signage like wayfinding signs or something different?
Well, it just, if I remember correctly, it said just District 2 signage. And if you need to get that to me afterwards, that's fine.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I just would.
Yes, sir. The funds are still there. It was within the park repair money. And I think we've noted on our sheets that we've been carrying it forward. So the money is still there.
Wonderful. Great. That answers one of those questions. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Hall. Appreciate all you do.
Perfect. Yeah, so if there's anything that you see on there, just like with this situation, if it seems like it's missing or should be there, just let us know, and we can definitely give you those updates. So I will get the rest of you guys almost as soon as we get out of this. I'll send you guys each of your sheets for your districts, and so you'll see basically what Levon was talking about, and then you'll also get the remaining projects that were listed up here. So if there's anything that you wanted to go further in on later, you can reach out to us. Anything else?
Hey, Jasmine, do we want to give a preview of this portal real quick, 30 seconds here? And I've got it. Oh, there you go. Okay. And so if you'll scroll down to like parks, and because it's kind of the one that's maybe easier to operate. And so this is about a 60% product. It doesn't have everything loaded into it, but the public would have access to this. You would have access to this. So in this case, if you let me orient you to the screen, across the top there, it says the different categories: transportation, parks, public facilities, and environment. Those are the main categories. And the white bar there at the very top, it has council district. You'll be able to sort it by all or your district. So you'll be able to view, have that, and then the current phase, whether it's in bid award, planning, bid award, design, construction. In this case, we've got 8 projects loaded in currently on parks. You see them listed here with a total budget amount. Again, the data is not 100%. We don't have it all loaded in there yet, but this give you a feel what it's going to be. Then the map, you can of course zoom in and out, and you can click on a project and it'll pull up the specific details about that project and what phase it's in. This will be, the detail in this will be for public consumption. It's not going to have like all the e-builder database information. We only this stuff, kind of phase it's in, the cost, the schedule, all the general information that they want, and then the district. So, and if you zoom back out again, Jasmine, just a little bit, and then go to like District 2, and click it to just District 2. If you did that, you would see that it would just highlight the projects in your district that is a park rated. Now, again, all the data is not in there, but I just wanted to give you a feel for what this is going to be like. Again, the book version will have the same data, but it'll be static, produced once a year. And then this will be interactive and it'll be updated, as much as PMs update their project. So, it could be daily, could be weekly, at a minimum monthly. So it'll be a very, very good tool, all integrated, and it'll really help you know kind of what's the status of your project, and also citizens know what's going on in their neighborhood. Thanks, Jasmine.
Yeah, no problem.
Now this, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
let me ask both the Colonel and Ms. Washington, this new portal, it won't have, especially the piece that will be available for public consumption, this 5-year vision that you all are putting together, will that information be available on the portal, or will it only include information on projects that have actually been approved by the council?
It's still to be determined on how far out we'll go. If there's a project that we know spans multiple years, so for example, a Broad Street project may have funding that goes over 3 years, or there's an out year project that we know we're doing and it has design 1 year and we've planned it for construction in an out year and we're budgeting money that way for it, then yes, it would be in there. But not every, like for example, road resurfacing projects, we may not have fidelity to go out 5 years out. We may only have the immediate year or 2 of which roads we think we're going to get to next. We won't have all the details in the roads. Now we know we're going to budget money for roads, repaving or resurfacing or sidewalks, but we may not know where those are yet. And so they may not be listed in there, if that helps.
Well, I just would caution you to do that because of the changes that could take place once we kind of get your priorities and you all get our priorities. And I'd hate to have citizens accessing information that would lead them to believe something's going to take place in 2022 or 2023. And they believe that because it's on the city website or on a city sponsored portal and then changes occur and that not materialize.
And that's fine. We won't put anything up there that hasn't been vetted and approved by the administration and the council. So you all see this, and this will all be part of our normal process.
Can it be something where if it's a design contract, it's a different color that's highlighted so that people know it's in design, which doesn't mean that it's coming tomorrow, but that the council approved design funding?
Yeah, right. We're going to work through all the graphics and everything. Yes. Bottom line is we can sort it by project phase, design, planning, design, bid and award, construction, and closeout. There will be different colors there. Again, I just wanted to give you a general idea of what this looks like.
Sure.
The details aren't there yet, but yes, that's
Thank
easy
you.
enough to do. And again, the beauty is it's all integrated to a single database that'll have this information. So it'll make it much easier for everyone. We don't have to have people dedicated just to kind of inputting this information. It's done by the team. So that's very, very helpful. Thanks, Jasmine. And I'm done.
Yep. We're good. Just like what he said a little bit earlier. So you'll be getting an email from me after this with an inquiry into your priorities for your district. And so if you notice in this November, December, January area, this is where we're identifying the projects, and then the departments are going to, assess the status of current projects. So this past session, there were some projects that needed funding to continue. So they'll be looking through the projects to look at that and using different assessments to lay out the projects as we do normally. So you'll get that request from me, and you'll also get the 2019, 20, and 21 projects for your district as well. Is there anything else that you guys are looking for?
Are we going to get, even going back to 16 or 17, if the project was never done, when do those funds roll over completely? It's abandoned.
Well, they should have
going to
already
be in the report we get?
Yeah, so they should have already been rolled over. So the only things that had remaining balances are the ones that we went through. So for 2016, there's only $36,733 in all of 2016, and these are those three projects. 2017, there's $156,047.14, and these are those three projects. Technically, there's traffic signal miscellaneous improvements for basically all of your districts. So, and then for 2018, these are all of those projects. So if these are things that are
so if I don't see mine on there, then I just assume it went to something else. Am I given that knowledge?
Or it's done.
Yeah, it should be done.
No, it was never. They were not done. They either had
project?
legal problems or they couldn't get the right of way. It didn't get done, but money was allocated.
Which project do you recall?
Center Drive, Huntley Woods, Woodland Road, and then there was fire stations that were supposed to get kind of signalization, I guess, to let them in and out or whatever.
That's in that. That's in 2016. If you back up, Jasmine, that's in that 16 or 17, or maybe even 18. Sorry.
All right, but I'll get that. Is all I'm saying. Okay, yeah, I'll ask my questions when I get your materials if I don't see it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's the best way to do it. Okay.
So this is what you're probably referring to. If it's 2017, it's grouped with other emergency signal upgrades.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
No. Yes, it could be. Yeah.
Sure.
I'm hoping it's there. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
That's it, because this one here this says, MFRD, which equipment will be the best for the city project, so that was part of that one that you just described. That is in that one right there.
Okay. All right. And the other ones, I know they just didn't come to fruition, or they were somewhat started, maybe some legal work or whatever. So I'm sure there was a cost if it was outside legal work. I don't know. So that's why I'm asking.
Okay.
I'll look for my report.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, that is all that we have.
Committee members, do you have any questions in the statements?
Mr. Dennis.
Okay, I'll wait.
I'll wait, John. Go now.
No, Mine's just just a little bit of a rehash of what I told Colonel DeLapp, and just that I believe that the success of this program has been the equal distribution of that 21 million and the input of the council.
Amen.
It is, and while I encourage every efficiency that we can find and grant that we can match up, I think it would somehow become confusing in the future if we mix the two programs. So whether or not it's a CCIP or it is a mayor's or administration improvement program, whatever. I just think they need to be distinctly different in their titles. While we know that at times along the purchasing through the years that they will come together. I think it's important to keep those monies apart, as it is all monies as we measure success of and where we go with different funding sources. That's all. And I know that the intentions are good, but this has really been a great success for our city. And I think we ought to continue with the $21 million focus, recognizing that it connects to other funding sources that can bring about greater things too. Thank you for everybody in their effort. Thank you, Jasmine.
Mr. Chairman, I agree with John, but I would add this. I don't mind them lumping the other projects that the administration is interested in with ours if they dump the money too. If they dump the grant money, dump all of that in with the money we have and let us make the decision, I don't mind. But if not, then we recognize that you are doing great work. We don't mind once we finish up that you all want to tie what we did to what you all have and call it something. I don't have nothing against that, but we're going to have to keep what with the CCIP has got to be separated at some point. But I would like to close my comment by saying I would like to commend Councilman Small, our chairman, for dutifully calling us together so we all can have an understanding of where we are, what we need to do to move forward. This has been very helpful and enlightening to me. I'm looking forward to getting some additional information. I got some projects out there that need to be moving. I'm looking forward for them to be moved. But at least we'll get a chance. We have this opportunity to ask you all questions and get information that we need in order to pass on to our constituencies. And this forum is allowing us to do that. And I would like to commend Councilman Small for calling us together.
All right, Ms. Richardson. Ms. Rich?
Oh, just thank you so much to everybody. Appreciate the information. Looking forward to getting the written report to each council member and working with the administration to make it a really good program. Thank you.
Okay, I don't believe Mr. Daves is on here no longer. President Manzi?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Vice President and Chair Small. I want to just echo what we've heard. The success of this program has been both the professional counsel of our staff, along with the input and the expression of needs of each and every council member. And Colonel, I believe the very first time we talked, when you were seeking this position, I stressed to you the importance of the council and the CIP program. I might have even called it our baby because we birthed it. We went through all the birthing pains. We took all the hits. We took all the licks. It was this council that did that. And so any delineation or any way we see some moving away from what we're used to, we're going to be extremely hesitant and in complete opposition to that. So I would join my colleagues in suggesting that we do separate it. I know for your accounting purposes, it may be good to keep them all configured together. But from a reporting purpose to us, it's important, I think, for us to clearly know what's in our lane as opposed to what might be federal resources, pay-go resources that come in and may even be predicated on some of that CCIP money. But just lumping it all together, I think it's going to lead to confusion. And so if we could find, I think CCIP works for the resources with the 21 million. And if you all could come up with a title, it shouldn't be hard to identify the other resources. That way it's clearly understood from what pot which resource is coming from. If not, we're going to run into some confusion. I've seen it even in council meetings where we've had agenda items and we were not able to tell really whether this was state money, federal money, CCA, capital improvement money. We've got to, as we mature in this, be able to clearly delineate which is which so that we understand how we're moving forward. And so that's pretty much my commentary. We're going to be very protective of this program. It's a popular program in our communities, and we want to see its popularity continue and its productivity continue. Glad to hear about all these new hires. I'll be happy to see, I hear I hear all the talk about the new hires. I'd be happy to see some of it would appear that when you got all these new people, that maybe some of this would move a little quicker. And that's not a criticism. That's me just observing that if we got 8 or 9 new set of eyes, new set of hands working on the project, then we ought to probably, and I know it's going to take some getting used to and some acclimation. I commend you and Ms. Washington and Mr. Christensen and Ms. Harden and everybody that works with these programs in and out of the year to get these programs going. The administration, thank you for all you do. And I thank our chair for calling this meeting. And I hope we can have these types of sessions with a little more regularity so that we can keep up with where these projects are going and be able to answer questions when our citizens inquire of us. And that concludes my remarks, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I missed something. I would like to commend the CIP coordinator, Jasmine, for the outstanding job she's done. I don't think she left a stone unturned. She went back to 2017 and 2016 and she came up to par. Like it or not, she had it up there. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for honesty and we're looking for professionalism. And she brought that to the table and I appreciate her for that.
Yes, sir, I do agree. And I also like to thank Ms. Jasmine Washington for her hard work for coordinating with the CIP, along with Colonel DeLapp. We do appreciate you also, Colonel, for your hard work also. But to both of you all, I do stress, as well as my colleague has already stressed, the importance of the capital improvement program, with the council. We went to bat for it, the administration tried to knock it out, in the beginning by vetoing the extra 1 cent sales tax penny. And the reason that it was created, you all too wasn't a part of the city when it was created. But even before I took council, many citizens was talking about the 1 cent sales tax, and they did not see where the money was going. And so when it was getting ready to sunset, that's when I think the 3 sponsors, myself, Mr. Williams, Mr. Richardson, got together and brought this towards the council and, to go ahead and, let the citizens finally see their penny. And once the council had did that, the citizens was grateful. We started getting things progress and moving. And then we just don't want to see this penny or this extra, sales tax money go strictly to the administration. And, given the, quote unquote, the gratefulness of this is, you all did this. It wasn't just administration, it was all of us, the council and administration that did this. And we just don't want to get lost by the stream, especially when we got the hits for, extending the sales tax pending for this capital improvement project. So that's the one reason why my colleagues are really just stressing, we want to see the difference, of the, what we actually want to put in versus what the administration wants to put in. Because again, what the administration wants to put in is not what we hear from our constituents. We are the ones who's right there on the line with our constituents. But again, we do appreciate both of you all, and Ms. Washington, we'll be looking for those updates per district through email later on today. Okay, anyone else? To the committee members, do I hear?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
All right, been properly moved with second that we'll adjourn. In the discussion, if not, thank you all so much, and you all have a good day.